Inside a game, in a place named Woldberry Forest, a huge team with many members ambushed a small team, and the leader of the guild is panting on the ground. The other team's right-hand man tells his leader that the person they are looking for still hasn't shown up. The blue team leader orders her members to kill them. At that moment, our MC appears and slashes the enemy player in a flash. His team members are relieved to see him and call him by the name Jae-hyun. Two members of the enemy team try to attack him, but he also slashes them in a matter of seconds. "You think ganging up on me will change anything?" he asks, as smirks and says that these guys aren't good enough. For introduction, our MC's real name is Jae-hyun An, and he goes by the name Hirkan in the game. He is affiliated with the guild name Ha-Ho Mask. Lastly, he has a nickname, and many people know him by his nickname, the Hero Slayer. Back to the present, the leader tells Hirkan sorry for getting ambushed. Hirkan, showing kindness, moves his hand forward to help the leader, saying that it wasn't their fault. Everyone sniffles after hearing it. Jae-hyun An says that the ones who are at fault are those pathetic losers who can't even put up a fair fight. "Isn't that right?" he asks while looking at the lady. The lady smirks, as if she has planned something beforehand. She stands up and comes forward, saying that there isn't a point in their friendship. She means that trash sticking together is still just a whole pile of trash. Her real name is Seolian Chai, and she in the guild named Thunder Hunters. Furthermore, she also has a nickname, the Thunder Queen. Hirkan taunts her by saying that she always gets beaten by the so-called trash she is being talking about. Seolian tells him that he better watch his mouth, or she might just make him regret and cry over it. "Regret?" Jae-hyun repeats as he activates his slot. He transforms and gets ready for the battle ahead. Seolian gets angry as she gives orders to kill Hirkan. Hirkan, on the other hand, is confident as he knows no one can beat him, but to his surprise, he gets stabbed by his own kind. The loyalty of his teammates was completely staged from the beginning, and the betrayal was served as they got the opportunity. Hirkan HP drops rapidly, and his movements get restricted as it was a critical strike. The leader of the Haheo Guild tells Hirkan not to have any hard feelings because they all gotta make a living. Jae-hyun on the ground is completely baffled while Seolian laughs wholeheartedly. She calls him a poor thing, since he actually believed in their friendship act, as if that means anything when money's on the table. She moves forwards, and while bending towards Hirkan, she grins, saying that she is kicking him out of the game and every time he logs in, she will kill him again and again. So that way, Hirkan won't be able to keep playing. She mentions that she heard that he is a full-time warlord player, and without this game, he is worthless. She concludes that he is back to being a weakling. Hirkan immediately charges with the little energy he has in his body, but again he is stabbed by 3 of his own members. Even though he is stabbed by his own kind, his eyes still show sadness in it rather than hatred, as he says that this guild was his everything. On the contrary, the leader tells him to die already because they're getting a couple million just to kill him. "So that's it? After everything I've done for you guys?" Now, Hirkan gets angry as he thought they were like family. Alas, he was killed, woke up in the real world, and got a penalty. He can't enter the game for the next 48 hours. He screams out of frustration as he lost everything in the game named Warlord, a game that took the world by storm, a massively profitable AI-driven VR game, the one thing that made him more than just trash. It was his one and only place until now. The thing that happened with him is unforgivable. He takes his dress and starts running, thinking that he will find them all and kill them himself. "Do they even realize how much I went through?" he asks himself. He keeps running while calling a person named Dong-soo, who may be the leader of the Ha-Ho Guild. He thinks that if he knew things would end up like this, he never would have wasted his time caring about anyone, and just like that, of all things, he gets hit by a garbage truck. He thinks that he can't die here. Not yet. That scoundrel who betrayed him, that bitch who screwed him over, he is still determined to get revenge on them. At that moment, we see a flash, and in the next moment, he is inside the game in his ID named Hirkan. The system notifies him to complete the tutorial by surviving against the beast Minotaur, the master of the labyrinth. Jaehyun's mind can't access the situation properly. He is baffled since many things have happened. His teammates tell him to stop zoning out. He says that this monster's impossible to solo, and it looks like it's gonna take the three of them to beat it. So, he asks Hirkan to tank them. Jaehyun speaks up. He says that Minotaur, as in the tutorial boss, was removed from the game 5 years ago for being too difficult. His teammate asks him, what nonsense is he talking about? Because it has only been 10 months since the release of the Warlord. 10 months, Hirkan repeats. Upon grasping the situation, he picks up the sword and charges straight at the Minotaur. In a matter of seconds, he slices the Minotaur into pieces. His teammates, who have been calling him noob and a weakling, grin upon seeing the opportunity, and just like previously, these people want to create a guild with him. Want to join my guild? He asks. Hirkan glares at them for a second. He says that he just made up his mind about something. He kills them in an instant while saying that if he ever trusts another person in this life, then he is a fucking dog. With this, Hirkan, the hero slayer, makes his return. After finishing the tutorial, Jaehyun wakes up in the real world. Where am I? He wonders shockingly as he sees himself amidst many people. Then he remembers that it's the V-Gear store because 5 years ago he couldn't afford his own gear. He had to play using a demo unit here. He concludes that he has really traveled back in time. If so, he thinks that he can't waste any time. He starts running thinking that he has 5 years' worth of future knowledge and all the skills he built up. If he uses them right, he can get his revenge. He hurriedly gives his card to the lady in charge to buy 1 standard V-Gear, and the lady starts to process his payment. Jaehyun smiles, wondering what he can do first if he gets the V-Gear and from where to start. But to his surprise, the lady called him many times while he was dreaming about his next plan. The lady tells him that his card has insufficient funds. After hearing it, now his brain starts to function properly instead of diluting itself. Like hell I'd be playing here if I had the money in the first place, he says. He wonders what he can do now. He realizes that making cash first would be a long process. At that moment, he hears a familiar voice asking, "Why hesitate? The strongest never fear a challenge." Hesitation is a luxury on the battlefield. He sees that it's Soehyung, the Thunder Queen, as an exclusive model, telling all the people to become a warlord by playing warlord. Well, this brings back some nasty memories of our MC. He decides to take action first, since he is in no position to be picky. After some time, we see that at his home, the V-Gear installation is completed. The only way he could get money was by getting a loan from some loan sharks. Previously, while taking the loan of 10 million, he was threatened by the loan shark. He says that they would be happy to lend him the money, but if he can't pay them back, life's gonna get real though for him. He thinks that it doesn't matter. Even if he has to crawl through hell itself, as long as he can crush those faces of the betrayers. He logs into the game using his ID Hirkan. It's been a while since he was here. He thinks that it's about time for her to show up. He remembers that her name goes by Ari or Aria, something like that. After a few seconds, a lady NPC appears congratulating him for clearing the tutorial. She introduces herself as Ariadne, who is here to guide him through his class selection. She tells him to choose his basic class. She explains that there are 3 options available. The skills he develops in his basic class will determine his advanced class later on. The first option is Warrior, a frontline fighter who wields melee weapons in intense combat. If someone enjoys action-packed battles, this is the class for him. Hirkan played it last time, so he can level it up quickly. But solo play gets tough later on, so he passes this option. Then comes the option of being the priest. a support class that heals and buffs allies with the power of... He doesn't even give her the time to finish her sentence and immediately rejects it, saying that he isn't wasting his time supporting others. Ariadne smiles as she says that then there's only one option left. So, she sends him to the last option, wishing that his journey may be a thrilling one. Thus, Hurakan is transported to his class tower, where an old man welcomes him. This old man here is Golko, a mage class box who is here to guide people to the piety of magic. So tell me, what kind of magic do you wish to learn? He asks. Hurakan immediately answers that he wants to learn dark magic, which baffles Golko. So he asks whether Hurakan means to learn arc magic. Jaehyun replies that he said dark magic, not arc magic. Where did you even hear about that? Golko asks worriedly, because dark magic is powerful, but it devours the caster's soul. Hurakan smirks while telling Golko to teach him, because he came here fully aware of the consequences. For him, it has to be dark magic, because he knows about a secret scenario. The old man starts to shake and transforms into a living skeleton. Golko laughs, speaking that it's been a while since he has seen a youngster choose this path. He tells Hurakan to put his hand on the skill book if he is fully prepared because this path is far too treacherous for the faint-hearted. Hurakan immediately places his hand on the skill book. He says that he will just get on with it since his heart is nowhere near faint. There was this legendary video in his previous life regarding a necromancer player, completely solo clearing a boss raid. Right now, that's the kind of power he needs. He becomes a necromancer and acquires a skill named Bone Shard. He quickly uses the skill Bone Shard and a skeletal warrior infused with magic begins to take form. This time, he decides to go all in as a necromancer. A skeleton is formed, so he turns his head in style, saying, it's time for him to level up, but mere moments later, he hears a cracking sound. He sees that his skeleton is still intact, but its skull is lying on the ground. Later, he enters the beginner training dungeon, since his skeleton is very flimsy. In his past life, the skeletons he saw weren't weak and clumsy like this. He sees that his skill Bone Shard's proficiency level is F rank. That's why he decides to level it up first, and in perfect timing, the coal wolves appear. They are not strong, but fast. They should be perfect for testing combat performance. So Hurakan uses his skill immediately, and the skeleton appears. It senses the enemy and enters his combat stance. He orders it to kill the wolves, and it charges straight. For Hurakan, it's looking better than he expected. At this rate, he thinks that he will reach max level very fast. Surprised, the skeleton's bones crack in an instant. Again, his skull falls off, sniffling. Jaehyun gets extremely annoyed. He can't fathom the problem here. He again sees the details of the skill. He notices that there are modes which he can select. He guesses that he just forgot to set its mode. He sets it to defense mode, but it doesn't help much. He can't believe what he is seeing right in front of him now. He then sets it to mode 3, a special mode. Due to that, the skeleton starts to dance enthusiastically. Hurakan realizes that he has messed up pretty bad. He looks for the option of character deletion, but he sees that it can't be done until 3 months. He can't delete his account, can't change his class, and his loan payments start next month. He thinks that maybe he should just get hit by a truck again. He sighs, thinking that nothing is going on his way, and the skeleton is not helpful at all. On the contrary, the skeleton is practicing some moves. He wonders for a second, how can the skeletons he saw in his previous life be that strong? Then, he gets enlightened as he remembers what he saw in the details of his skill. This skill has a deep learning system to improve combat capabilities. Just now, while he took down those coal wolves. The Bony here was watching and learning. He gives a wooden stick to the Bony, telling it that it is lucky to get a master like him. Hurakan says that he doesn't look like it, but he used to be called a genius, who trained his whole guild and turned them into rankers too. He states that there's only one thing someone needs to remember in combat, and the thing is, if a person doesn't learn to dodge, he dies immediately. After saying it, he attacks the skeleton again and again while giving it instructions. He tells it to dodge first, then counterattack when it sees an opening. After training for some time, the skeleton looks more in combat form. It goes again at the wolves, but this time he dodged their attacks and even landed some blows. It is his first victory, so it turns and looks at his master to hear some compliments. Hyrcan tells the bony not to get distracted during the battle, but still, he gives it a compliment saying that its last move wasn't so bad. With this, his skills proficiency increases and he levels up. Then he goes to the beginner village's Figus castle. He walks in the streets thinking that the Skelly sure learns fast. With a few more days of training, and it will be able to clear dungeons by itself. He decides to reach level 10 first while someone bumps into him. The person who, like a B-list villain, blocks Hyrcan's path, asking him for an apology. "I don't have time for this. Should I just kill them and move on?" He wonders with a serious face, as the B-list villain is about to attack. Another person wearing sunglasses appears and blocks the attack. Judging by Hyrcan's expressions, he seems to know the person in front of him. Hyrcan, judging by the build and weird clothes, thinks that there's no doubt about it, that the person in front of him is Metador Shev, which was the top-ranked warrior legend in his past life. The B-list guy spits in front of Metador, telling him to stay away from this. Shev gets enraged as he realizes some amount of aura which overwhelms everyone, even Hyrcan. The boss's lackey informs him that the person they are facing right now is Metador Shev, leader of Red Bulls, one of the top 30 guilds, the ruthless battle freak, also known as Metador Killer Shev. After knowing the identity, the boss and his lackey get scared and runs with tails between their legs. After their departure, Shev laughs, saying that the situation was handled peacefully, although it was rather violent to somewhat. Shev puts his hands on Hyrcan's shoulders, asking whether he is all right. On the contrary, Jaehyun pushes the guy back, telling him that he doesn't need to help next time, and leaves. Shev says that Hyrcan's attitude was rather cold. Meanwhile, Hyrcan walks quickly out of anger. His hands are shaking because for a moment he was completely overwhelmed by Shev's power. He clenches his hand, and he thinks that the next time he meets Shev, he swears that he won't be the same person he was today. After some time, while sitting inside the dungeon, he thinks deeply that their difference in strength was pretty obvious. But the Thunder Queen, also known as Sil, and Chev are on the same level, which means he has to become just as strong if he wants to get revenge. Meanwhile, his skeleton warrior is taking out the cold tiger. It levels up and looks at his master with happy eyes. Hyrcan says that he is disappointed that it took him 3 days to reach level 10, and it's longer than expected. After hearing it, the bony starts sulking. Finally, Hyrcan gets the war watch, for which he came to this place. It's been a while since he last wore it. This watch is an essential gaming device with features like stats, quests, map, inventory, and messenger. "Show stats!" he shouts, and the watch tells him to distribute the 50 stats points. He thinks that, since it's his first stat distribution, he needs to be careful with this. As a necromancer, his obvious choice is to increase intelligence or magic. But he makes an expected decision and puts all of his stats point to strength, which makes his skeleton buddy grim, and it starts sobbing. He explains while giving a hit that he is not giving up on necromancy. He is doing this to teach Skelly. Moreover, boosting intelligence or magic right now won't change much. But by investing in strength, he can teach Boney every move he mastered at his peak. He states that he is literally betting his life on Boney's learning here. After hearing these, the skeleton feels touched. Besides, he says that there's another way to make up for the other stats, and in the next scene, we see Monster Hunting Association in the Figus Castle branch. Hyrcan enters the association. While entering, he sees that some people are hyping and fighting for which quests to take, although the quests around this time of year are bad. He tells the person in charge that he would like to look at the list of the quests. The person who may be a dwarf tells him to go ahead, but warns him that all that's left are the ones nobody wants. Either they're too hard to clear, or the rewards suck. Hyrcan smirks, thinking that he knows all of these quests are lame, but he knows better and found his ace card among them. It's a quest related to the cave of Mount Bima. It's a basic hunting quest for low-level mobs. The dwarf asks whether it is okay for him to take this quest, since the reward is only 10 gold. Hyrcan replies saying yes while thinking that, on the surface, it looks like a petty quest, but if he clears it before reaching level 15, he can get an ultra-rare title Rising Star. Titles give someone stat boosts, and a Rising Star title, it boosts stats by percentage, in other words. This quest is his first step in becoming a broken op character. Now, the only thing left for him to do is to gear up. Well, his gear up was rather unexpected. Previously, after spending all his money on skeleton gear, he just threw together whatever he could afford, and now he looks like a total weirdo. He realizes that there's no use in sulking. He will just have to speedrun this quest and buy some real clothes. He shouts while running that it would be the fastest clear ever. Meanwhile, we see a murder taking place by some players who snicker. After some time at Mount Bima, the grand adventure of a person begins, who calls himself by Mighty Multi. He delivers a cool pose, saying that he is already at level 11, so he thinks he is kinda talented at this game. Suddenly, he hears someone calling for help. He rushes over to rescue and asks what happened. The person explains that a monster, out of nowhere, just started attacking them. They barely managed to escape, but his teammate was caught in it. And now they're fresh out of potions. Multi hurriedly presses his war watch to give them some healing potions, but his innocence causes him a big time, as he is beaten to death by the very players he wished to protect. The entire team of 3 shows themselves just to laugh at Multi. Lastly, before dealing with the final stab, the player states that Multi can't blame anyone, since he is the one who walked right into their trap. His teammate says that nothing can beat the feeling they get while messing with a noob. The team leader is named Ralph, and they are known as the Ralph family, an infamous PK gang. At the same time, Hyrcan is giving order to Skelly to act according to attack mode. He thinks that now that he has bought it a sword, it can handle a whole pack of ancient wolves on its own. He grins, saying that he knew he made the right call prioritizing skeleton gear. He cries as he says that real gamers focus on stats rather than looks. Meanwhile, Skelly sniffles and looks at its master with pity. As they are about to move to another location to level up, Skelly gets shot in his skull by an arrow. Ralph appears saying, sorry, that he saw it from a distance and thought it was a monster. Hyrcan immediately notices that they are carrying some extra war watches and weapons all soaked in blood. He grasps the situation and fakes a smile on his face, saying that he would appreciate a mana potion if they got some, while Skelly breaks the arrow. Ralph says that they don't have any potions either, but they would like to help him level up, since the mana recovers automatically when someone gains a level. At perfect timing, some monsters appear. Ralph says that they will weaken it for Hyrcan, and he can get the last hit. According to their plan, first, they will pull aggro on the monster. Then the mage will cast an attack buff, and finally they will pretend to accidentally let it loose on the sucker. Moreover, according to them, but they didn't know reality can have something else stored for them. They see that Hyrcan's summon was enough to kill all the monsters. Hyrcan tells them to carry on with a smile on his face. They think that maybe this player's level is higher than they originally thought. In that case, they devise another plan. They send multiple mobs at once, and while the skeleton is distracted, they aim to take out the summoner. But to their surprise, they see that the summoner is even stronger than his summon. Hurkan gives a sign to the Skelly, and they both charge together at once to kill the players. Hurkan says that he knows scums like them all too well. The type who gain people's trust just to stab them in the back and loot them dry. He says that the old him would have fallen for it. Ralph begs for survival and even offers all of his items, but Hurkan kills him, saying that it's too bad that he doesn't trust people anymore. Due to Ralph's death, 8 unclaimed watches have been dropped. Jaehyun says that this guy was a total dirtbag, but the next moment, he picks it all up to make some good of it and also acquires some decent clothes. Meanwhile, when he turns, he sees that Skelly is smacking the other play while grinning like a murderer. He heals the crack of Skelly and gives it a muffler to wear. Hurkan says that appearances don't even matter in a game, it's what's inside that counts, even though he is flexing his stolen brand-new clothes in front of Skelly. Those guys' war watches were a total jackpot for him, since when someone sell off another player's war watch, their inventory drops items at random, like rare gear with stat bonuses. That's how he got the Black Goblin pants, Ancient Essence sword, some skill books like the Demonic Curse, and of course gold. Now, this is what he called a lottery won. He takes out the Ha-Ho mask. He says that soon he is gonna start recording his gameplay, and stuff like this needs the right style, which brings back some old memories. A chat with his old friend when they both decided to change the guild name to Ha-Ho Mask due to his suggestion. He has thought about completely changing his style, but now he just changes the look of the mask, refusing to let anyone take what's his ever again. He will prove that he was right, and this will be the start of it. He enters the cave dungeon of Mount Bima. He walks and thinks that if he remembers correctly, this dungeon spawns blue werewolves. Tough monsters, but with his new gear, he should be fine. He smirks as he says that he is gonna clear it in 10 minutes. A few hours later, he shouts out of frustration, since nothing is spawning. This is driving him nuts. If someone had already cleared it, the system would have sent a message. Maybe there's a glitch, he wonders. Then he notices Skelly is attacking the cave ground with its sword. While looking at it, he discovered an instance dungeon known as the Stage. He concludes that it's the reason why nothing was spawning. Instance dungeons are a randomly generated, one-time dungeon inside another dungeon. Once it appears, the regular dungeon shuts down until it's cleared. They are much harder to clear, but give out way better rewards. The catch is once you go in, you can't leave until you clear it or die. Logically speaking, he should just walk away from this, because if he dies, he won't be able to play for 2 whole days. It'd make more sense to just farm easier quests. But our MC isn't a normal guy. He enters the dungeon saying that as long as he doesn't die, he is good. After entering, he sees an arena in front of him. The atmosphere here is intense. So he wonders what kind of monster will spawn. In the next moment, they see one large, corrupted werewolf. Hurkan was immediately attacked by the werewolf, while Skelly, making sure that its master is okay, takes a fighting stand. Hurkan starts to laugh, saying that his luck today is insane, since it is a corrupted monster which gotta be main quest material. He tells Skelly that if they doesn't take this thing down, then it has to kiss its dinner goodbye. Hurkan comes running and jumps using Skelly's sword. He uses the skill book Demonic Curse to unleash curse and instantly cuts the werewolf's left hand, which activated the curse and the wolf's stats get reduced by 10%. But seconds later, the corrupted werewolf is enraged and all status effects on it get nullified. He says that he was expecting a dungeon boss to be at least this tough. Hurkan smirks as he says that he was gonna save this for later, but he guesses now's the chance to test it out. He uses his war watch to slot on and gets transformed.